Writing Workshop with Cool Cat Court. You can get story ideas from anywhere. For example, J.K. Rowling got her idea for Harry Potter while she was stuck on a train. You can get story ideas from your life, and then you can change those ideas to make them into creative, realistic fiction. In third grade, we need to learn how to write stories based on sources, because narrative writers can use sources to create powerful stories with action, description, and dialogue. Just like we write informational articles and opinion articles based on sources. That means we take notes on sources and use them to create powerful, realistic fiction stories. Let me show you how it works. Here is your assignment. Your class has decided to make a book of stories to share with other students and parents at your school's open house. You will write a story to add to the storybook. You have decided to write a story about finding a lost pet. When writing your story, find ways to use information and details from the sources to improve the story. Make sure to develop your characters, the setting, and the plot using action, description, and dialogue. So as we read these sources, we need to ask ourselves, what should we underline or jot down in our notes to use in our story? First, let's read the source. Then we'll go back over the text, and I'll show you how I find information and jot it down as notes. Information I can use to create a powerful narrative story with action, description, and dialogue. Look at source number 1. You have found a source that describes some things to do if you find a lost pet. If you find a lost pet, information from American Humane. Have you ever seen a dog or cat running loose on a busy street and feared for its safety? You may have tried to get it out of harm's way, or you may have wanted to but weren't sure how. Here are some tips that can help next time you see a lost pet. And remember, children should never try this alone. Get an adult to help you before approaching an animal. Capture and contain it with care. If you see a stray cat or dog, try to capture and contain the animal if circumstances permit. Always approach stray animals slowly and cautiously while speaking in a calm, gentle voice. You can also use food to coax a frightened animal into approaching you. Ideally, dogs should be secured using a leash or contained in a fenced yard. A belt or piece of rope can be used in an emergency, but keep in mind that these items are not appropriate as a routine means of controlling a dog. A dog may be able to escape from a rope. Most cats do not like to be held for any length of time, so stray kitties are best confined inside a cat carrier, secure box with air holes, small room of your house, or temporarily in your car, as long as the car is well ventilated and not too hot. Other steps you can take include check for an ID, get the pet scanned for a microchip, take pets with no ID to the animal shelter, call the authorities, and post flyers. Read more at the American Humane website. From American Humane, formerly known as the American Humane Society. Now I'm going to take my notes so I can write a powerful narrative story. And I think the most useful information is in this paragraph, so I'm going to focus on it. Now I'm going to read my paragraph and look for information I can use to add to my story. This sentence looks interesting. I could jot that down as a note. Approach carefully with gentle voice. And what about this detail? I think I'll jot it down. Leash. Or, this could be interesting in my story. Belt or rope in emergency. Hey, this could add some action to my story. May escape from rope. Here's some information about cats if I decide to include them in my story. Keep cats in carrier or box. Now let's look at source number 2. And this time, after we read, we're going to take some notes together. Source number 2. You have found a source that describes the fear some people have of Doberman pinschers. The misunderstood Doberman. Many people have fears of one type or another. For some, it is the fear of flying. For others, it is the fear of being in small places. But a lot of people have a fear of dogs, especially large dogs like Doberman pinschers. Doberman pinschers are a large dog breed that can bring up fear in people. Their pointy ears and sharp teeth, along with their size, cause many people to begin shaking. Some people will even freeze when they see a Doberman approaching in the distance. What these people don't realize is that some large dogs can be the sweetest, kindest pets. For example, while some Doberman pinschers may be fierce guard dogs, others can be very kind. In fact, some owners of Dobermans say the worst thing about the breed is that they constantly want to snuggle and love. They say some Dobermans just want to rest their heads on their owners' laps all the time, or wrap their paws around their owners. One trainer even reported his Doberman likes to stand up with its paws on its owner's shoulders, especially if the dog is frightened. Dobermans may be one of the most misunderstood dog breeds. Many people shake in fear when they see a Doberman, especially a stray. But if the dog is lost and far from home, it may be shaking in fear as well. Let's start by looking together at this first paragraph. What are some details we can underline? Read the paragraph and then point to some details that you want me to highlight. How about this? Do you think we should highlight this sentence? Let's jot this note down together. I wrote pointy ears, sharp teeth, big size, but you can write it how you want to. Let's read on. Point to the next words that you want me to highlight. How about this? Do you agree with this one? Let's jot down our note. People begin shaking. Is there anything in the last sentence you want me to highlight? Point it out. What about this? Did you highlight these words? We can add it to our notes. People freeze. Now it's your turn. I showed you how to do it with source number 1. We did it together in source number 2. And now I want you to finish source number 2 on your own. Read the next 2 paragraphs and stop and jot down notes along the way. Bring your notes along to our small group. We can talk together about how we can create powerful narrative writing using notes from your sources. See you then. And remember, stay cool.